The Murtala Muhammad International Airport buzzed with voices, wheels, and announcements. It was another ordinary Lagos evening until a scream shattered the flow. "Don't enter that airplane!" A barefoot girl, no older than 13, rushed through the crowd, tears streaming down her face. Her clothes were torn, her face streaked with dust and desperation. Security ran after her, but she didn't stop. People turned, phones rose, cameras recorded, but no one moved to help her. Inside the crowd, Daniel Okeke paused. 32, clean-cut, rich and successful, he was headed to London on a business-class flight. He turned toward the commotion, annoyed, but something in her voice pierced him. "Please," the girl sobbed, locking eyes with him across the room. "Don't enter that airplane." Daniel's heart skipped. Her eyes, they were familiar, deep brown, wild with panic. "Who is this mad girl?" A security guard growled as they grabbed her arm. She kicked and screamed, pointing. "That man, tell him not to go. Please, he'll die." People laughed, others booed, some pitied, but Daniel just stood there, frozen. He didn't know this girl. Or did he? He walked closer, ignoring the whispers. "Why are you saying this?" he asked, calm but tense. "I saw it," she whispered, trembling. "I don't know how, but I saw it. The plane, it crashes." The security pulled her back. "Oga, don't mind her. She's been loitering outside for weeks, always saying strange things." Daniel looked at her again. "Let her go," he said. "Sir?" The officer blinked. "I said, let her go." Daniel missed his flight, and just 2 hours later, breaking news hit every screen in the terminal. Flight 712 to London has crashed. No survivors. Gasps echoed. Screams. Chaos. People fainted. Daniel fell to his knees. He was supposed to be on that flight. The girl stood silently in a corner, no longer crying. "You saved my life," he whispered, walking back to her. She didn't smile. "I only saw what I saw." "Who are you?" he asked. She looked down. "Nobody, just a homeless girl. I sleep behind the car park." Daniel couldn't speak. The girl turned and walked toward the glass doors, ready to disappear again. But this time, Daniel followed her. Daniel followed the barefoot girl through the airport's back exit, still shaken. The crowd faded, cameras stopped rolling, but his heart kept pounding. She walked fast, head low, arms wrapped around herself. "Wait," he called. "Please, just tell me your name." She stopped but didn't turn around. "They call me Mima," she said softly. "Mima?" Daniel breathed. "How did you know?" "I just saw it," she whispered. 2 nights ago, in my sleep, clear. The plane exploded midair. You were on it." Daniel stared at her. The odds were impossible. Her warning, the crash, it couldn't be a coincidence. "But how? You live here, in the airport?" he asked. She nodded. "Since last year, after my mum died, I sleep behind the parking lot. No one sees me." Daniel's chest tightened. "No father?" "He left before I was born." Her voice cracked. "I used to think he'd come back. I used to wait." Daniel looked at her face again. She looked familiar. Not just the eyes, something deeper. "Do you remember your mother's name?" he asked. Mima blinked. "Maria. Maria Ikenna." Daniel froze. No, it couldn't be. "Maria from Enugu?" Mima's eyes widened. "Yes, you know her?" His mind spun. Maria from Enugu. The woman he had loved in university. The one who disappeared after graduation. The one who never told him. "Mima," he said, voice shaking, "I think I might be your father." The world fell still. Mima backed away. "No, you're lying." "I'm not," Daniel said. "Maria and I, we were in love. Then she vanished. I searched, but her number was gone. No trace. If she named you Mima, I gave her that nickname." Tears filled Mima's eyes. "She never told me." Daniel knelt in front of her, his heart breaking. "I'm so sorry. If I had known, if I had any idea." She shook her head. "Why would she hide me from you?" "I don't know," he whispered. Suddenly, Mima collapsed into his arms. "I didn't want you to die. I don't know why I saw it, but I had to stop you." He hugged her tightly, emotion flooding him. "You saved my life, Mima, and now I'll never leave you again." For the first time in a long time, Mima smiled. But across the parking lot, someone watched them from a black car. A woman. Dark glasses, red lips. She picked up her phone. "They've met," she said coldly. "Time to move." The woman in the black car lowered her phone and watched as Daniel wrapped his arms around Mima like a long-lost treasure. Her lips curled into a bitter smile. She had spent too long building this silence. And now, this girl threatened to ruin everything. She pulled away from the curb. Back behind the airport, Daniel and Mima sat on a broken bench near the parking lot. His tailored blazer covered her shoulders now. She held it tight, like she never wanted to let go. Tell me more about your mum, Daniel asked gently. Mima's eyes clouded. She got sick a lot. We moved from place to place. Sometimes she cried at night. She never talked about the past, just said we had to stay hidden. Daniel looked down. Why would Maria hide my child? He thought. Why disappear if she still loved me? I used to ask about my dad, Mima whispered, but she always said, he's better off without us. Daniel clenched his fists. That's not true. I would have been there. I believe you now, she said softly. Then she looked up. But why were you going to London? Daniel hesitated. A deal. Business, important people to meet. Mima tilted her head. More important than your life? He smiled weakly. Not anymore. They found an old airport staff shelter that night. Daniel had it unlocked and cleaned. Mima took her first hot bath in months. He ordered her hot food, bought her new clothes, sat beside her like he never wanted the moment to end. But far away, in an upscale hotel suite in Victoria Island, the woman from the car poured herself wine and opened a hidden drawer. Inside was an old photo. Daniel and Maria, smiling, young, in love. She shredded it. Then she pulled out an envelope stamped confidential DNA report. She stared at it with disgust. Maria thought she could run, the woman muttered, but the truth always finds its way back. She opened her phone and called a number. I want you to watch the man, Daniel Okeke, and the girl. Find out how much they know and make sure they don't talk. Understood, the voice said. Back at the airport, Daniel tucked Mima in under clean sheets. She slept fast, curled like a baby chick. He sat at the edge of the bed, staring into the night. His life had changed in 24 hours, from nearly dying to finding a daughter he never knew. But something still didn't add up. Why had Maria vanished? Why did her name never show up in any search? And why, after all these years, did a little girl with visions just walk back into his life? Daniel didn't know yet that someone powerful had tried to erase the past, and now that past was fighting to return. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the small window of the staff shelter. Mima stirred under the sheets, the scent of fried plantain filling the air. Daniel stood by the table, cooking breakfast from the little burner he'd brought in. You cook? Mima asked, surprised. He smiled. I had to. Your mother used to say my food was better than restaurant meals. Mima's face softened. You really loved her, didn't you? Daniel nodded slowly. With everything. She sat up. Then why didn't you find us? I tried, he said. For months I reported her missing. I asked her friends, even traveled to her hometown. But she was gone, like smoke. Mima looked down. She must have been scared. Daniel handed her a plate. Scared of what? She didn't answer, but someone else was ready to. Meanwhile, in the hotel suite, the woman in dark glasses, Vivian Okeke, Daniel's half-sister, watched a live camera feed on her tablet. Hidden surveillance, right inside the shelter. She watched them eat, talk, laugh. Her jaw tightened. You were supposed to die on that plane, she whispered. Then she opened the drawer again and removed Maria's letter. Crumpled. Torn at the edges. She read it again. If anything happens to me, please protect our daughter. Daniel doesn't know she exists. I've kept her hidden because of your threats. But if you ever find this, I beg you, don't let her fall into your hands. Vivian scoffed. Too late, Maria. She pulled out her phone. Activate phase 2. She said coldly. Send the email to Daniel. Later that afternoon, Daniel sat outside with Mima, showing her old photos of Maria from his university albums. She was so beautiful, Mima whispered. Suddenly, Daniel's phone beeped. Anonymous email. Urgent. The truth about Mima. His stomach dropped. He opened it. Attached, a scanned DNA report, the same one Vivian had. The words in bold hit him like a bullet. Paternity result, negative. The alleged father is not biologically related to the child. He stared at it. The world spun. He read it again. No, this has to be wrong. Mima looked up. What is it? He stood, pacing. Just give me a moment. The report kept blinking on his phone like a curse. Could it be fake? Was someone trying to break them apart? Or worse, had Maria lied to him? Mima's face twisted. You don't believe I'm yours? He couldn't answer. Mima stood, voice cracking. I warned you about that plane. I saw your face in my dreams. I don't know how or why, but I knew. Isn't that enough? He was silent. Tears welled in her eyes. You were the first person to ever hug me like I mattered. And now, because of a paper, you're pushing me away? Mima, wait. But she was already running. Away from the shelter. Back into the world that forgot her. and from the shadows, someone followed her. Rain pelted the cracked pavements outside Murtala Muhammad Airport as Mima ran, heartbroken, eyes blurred. She had no plan, just pain. The only man who'd made her feel safe had turned cold over a report. Behind her, a black SUV moved slowly. Tinted windows, no license plate. Inside, a man in dark clothing held a syringe in one hand. He spoke into an earpiece. "She's alone. I'm moving in." Meanwhile, Daniel sat frozen, the DNA report still on his screen. Every word tore into him. "She warned me about a crash, she saved my life, and now I'm doubting her because of a file?" He stood up. "No, something's wrong." He called a private investigator friend. "Tolu, I just received a DNA result. I think it's fake. Can you check its source?" "Send it to me now," Tolu replied. "Give me 2 hours." Daniel didn't wait. He called Mima. No answer. His heart jumped. He tried again. Still nothing. He bolted out the door, dialing airport security. "I need all eyes on a young girl, 13, short hair, barefoot. She ran from the old staff shelter." The officer hesitated. "Sir, we saw her near the car park, but then she vanished." Daniel's blood turned cold. "Vanished?" In a cold basement somewhere in Acadia, Mima stirred awake, her arms tied, vision fuzzy. A woman stepped into the dim light. "Vivian." "You look just like her," she muttered, circling Mima. "Your mother was stubborn. She ruined everything." Mima winced. "Who are you?" "Let's just say I'm the reason you grew up in the streets." Mima's eyes widened. Vivian crouched beside her. "Your father, Daniel, he was supposed to die on that flight. You ruined that. You tried to kill him?" Mima whispered. "His money, his empire. It should have been mine, but your mother stole everything when she got pregnant." Mima's voice cracked. "Why lie about the DNA?" Vivian smirked. "Because the only truth people believe is what's printed." She pulled out a syringe. "Time to disappear again, sweetheart." Back at the airport, Daniel's phone rang. "Tolu here. The report's fake. The lab was never real. Someone forged it to break you two apart." Daniel didn't wait to hear more. "I knew it, but I think she's been taken." He raced to the security office, demanded CCTV. There she was, Mima, running, and then the black SUV. "Zoom in," Daniel ordered. The security officer paused. "Sir, that car was reported last year in a missing person case. We tracked it to a private estate in Acadia but lost the signal." "I'm going there now," Daniel said, grabbing his keys. "And if anything happens to her..." He didn't finish. He just drove, like a father who had nothing left to lose. The rain beat hard as Daniel sped down the road, his mind racing faster than the wheels. Every second counted. If anything happened to Mima, his daughter, he would never forgive himself. He screeched into the abandoned estate in Acadia, headlights cutting through the fog. The gates were rusted but unlocked. He burst inside, gun drawn, one he kept for emergencies. His heart thundered louder than his footsteps. Down in the basement, Mima stared at the syringe in Vivian's hand. "You're a coward," Mima whispered. "That's why you hid behind fake reports. That's why you left me on the streets." Vivian laughed. "I didn't leave you. Your mother ran, but she didn't hide well." Mima's fists clenched against the rope. "She died protecting me." "Good riddance," Vivian snapped. "One less mouth to expose the truth." Just as she lifted the syringe, boom, the basement door flew open. "Step away from her," Daniel roared, gun raised. Vivian froze. Mima's eyes filled with tears. "Daddy?" Vivian smiled coldly. "How touching. You're a bit late." "No," Daniel said, walking in, steady. "I'm right on time." He moved closer. "You forged the report, lied, tried to kill me, but worst of all, you tried to steal my daughter." Vivian's smirk faltered. Suddenly, Daniel fired. Crack! The syringe flew from her hand, shattering on the floor. Vivian lunged, but airport security, who had followed Daniel quietly, swarmed in behind him. "Vivian Okeke, you're under arrest for attempted murder, kidnapping, and fraud," an officer barked. Daniel dropped to his knees and untied Mima. She collapsed into his arms, sobbing. "You came? I will always come," he whispered, kissing her forehead. 3 weeks later. The sun set beautifully over Banana Island as Daniel and Mima stood on the balcony of their new home. Mima wore her first school uniform. Her hair was neat, her cheeks full, her eyes hopeful. She looked up at Daniel. "You're really my dad," he smiled. "DNA can lie, but love never does." They laughed. Downstairs, a knock at the door came. It was a lawyer. "Sir, the court finalized it. Full custody granted, and she's now officially your daughter, on paper too." Daniel signed the document, hands firm. Mima looked at the paper, then hugged him tight. "I don't care what the past was," she whispered. All that matters is I have a home now. He smiled. No, baby girl, you don't just have a home. You have a future. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and tell us where you're watching us from.